My biggest challenge is, would I be friends with God knowing what he was like in the Old Testament? That's my hardest
I think you would
thing.
have a reverential fear. I don't know if there was a friendship element with God back then. Because remember, Abraham, he was a friend of God. That's what they say.
Yeah.
This is even in the book of Romans. But I think the Old Testament is written in the context of that time from that perspective, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They don't see the elements of friendship in God.
Have you done a podcast before?
I haven't done it like this, but I do a lot of... I interview people, right? I'm on the other side now.
Interview a guru.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask them all the hardest questions.
I
and
like
you guys
asking
can judge them.
questions though, man.
Do you?
Yeah.
Should we flip it?
No.
No. Before we start, because it's important so I don't have to edit it, people need to know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So how would you sum up your purpose in life and how you might be able to add value in this podcast?
The best way I like to see myself and my purpose is to just connect people to solutions, connect people to people, and connect people's potential to their pathway in life, So essentially I would help people find their gifts, coach them, and, essentially get them going. I'm a mobilizer. I like empowering people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
That's me.
Yeah. What about, if we break it down into offerings you've got. So you've got, you got the faith thing.
Yeah.
You've got the real estate thing.
Yeah. That's my wealth creation side.
Yeah. Please explain it.
Yeah, so I've got my faith-based community. I grew up in the church, right? So that's been my support system and my foundation. And then wealth creation is real estate and trading and whatnot, crypto and whatnot. And then I've got marketing, a company which is helping churches and nonprofits and individuals that want to get out there and start promoting themselves. That's been something I've been doing for the last 7-8 years.
And you're living?
Yeah. Huh?
You can afford to live?
Yeah. I'm not that bad, man.
Yeah, good, man. Good. That's good.
Right. I'm not on the dole yet, bro. So it's fine. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard you used to be able to get the doll, need to have an address. How fucked up, eh? You couldn't get it if you didn't have an address. That's kind of a bit of a problem. But that was way back when.
I think they've become much, stronger in process when giving out handouts,
Why do you say it like that?
Sorry, man. Let's get real about it. I think doles or the handout is important, but I think it can make people lazy. And I think, let's talk about young people, right? For example, young people on the dole or young people that don't want to work, that's bad for our economy, bad for our society, bad for communities, because work is the essence of why, we are created. We're created to function in our purpose, to go and be, multiply, be fruitful, dominate our field of influence. But if you're giving somebody free money, why are they going to work? Well, that's what COVID did, but, you can't do much about COVID.
So how do you inspire the young person want to work?
Well, I think you got to create a need and say, okay, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Do you see yourself getting $200 a week and living like this? Do you see yourself having a family? Do you see yourself moving overseas? Where's your significance in life? You got to ask the big questions, and I don't think a lot of young people even have the capacity to understand those questions. Yeah, but I'm very scared. It's a trigger point, man. I actually get triggered when I see young people being unfruitful.
Interesting. So what about you get so triggered at the idea of young people struggling? Or not taking control of their life. Have you witnessed hardship?
Yeah,
have you struggled?
Personally,
yeah.
I've grown up, really well with a great family. I haven't struggled in that sense, of going through financial hardship or anything like that. But I have a real big heart, and I'm like, man, if only I would love to go to actually schools and talk to kids and say, there's more to life than this. You have to think outside the box. There's so many creative people, but they just don't know they're creative. So they need, a coach, or they need somebody to come and tell them and, get them to ask questions. Honestly, I've helped people just by simply asking really good questions.
I believe that. There's a study they do with teachers where they lied to the teachers. So they said to the teachers, hey, this student over here is doing real good.
Yeah.
And would lie about the marks.
Yeah.
And then that student that was normally a low-performing student started doing really well.
Wow.
So just the belief from the teacher that it was possible as a contributor, There's another one they did, Blue Eyes versus Brown Eyes.
Yeah.
You heard that one?
No, I don't.
Essentially, the teacher did this experiment to show the impact of, how black people were being treated back then, essentially.
Yeah.
So you got the brown eyes, and she was telling everyone, brown eyes are stupid, they're dumb, they can't do anything.
Yeah.
And then they started becoming dumb and not being able to do anything.
Yeah.
And then they switched it to blue.
Yeah.
And then they started getting picked on and not doing as well and yada, yada, yada.
Oh my goodness.
So the social narrative or the perception of how a certain group may behave or certain individuals aren't doing what they should be doing in the eyes of society contributes in part to the success of that group.
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is the interviewer and me coming out.
Go on then. Good deflection.
Is there underlying systematic or racism against the Māori in the Pacifica and New Zealand?
Yes.
Okay. And do you think there's anything that's been done right now in the current system to address this and to create pathways for them to be released? Yeah,
so fundamentally, I'm not saying that the laws themselves are creating this disparity or contributing to it.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of opportunities as well that are trying to correct that experience. But I look at it as a psychological component.
Okay.
A lot of the behaviors I have were shaped by my father and my mother.
Absolutely.
And their fathers and mothers.
Correct.
So when you come into a society where you feel vilified, alienated, and excluded, and then you don't have the ability to accumulate assets, you start behind.
Correct.
That doesn't mean you're not responsible for your life and how you view the world.
Yeah.
It just means that you are excluded. And now even like when I'm creating videos, there's no Māori people, just all white people.
Yeah.
And when you look at the branding and on the news, like it's they're not represented in a way that would inspire them to believe it's possible to be successful.
Correct. The system's wired against them, would you say too as well?
I would say it's not so much that the system itself is wired against them, it's more that the social perception is not conducive to them becoming successful.
Okay. Interesting.
Because, and this will get me cancelled, but who cares?
Yeah.
Essentially.
You've said a lot of things that will get
I should have been cancelled already, bro. And I'm talking about a group, and the reality is there's individuals, and that's who I'm concerned about, the individual in front of me. But if I was Māori and I'm being told I'm not going to be successful, it's harder for me to get jobs, I earn less, maybe there's more instances of domestic violence, maybe I'm more likely to die sooner, get diabetes. If I'm getting told all this, the whole social narrative against me, and just someone telling me, hey,
100%.
Ryan, you're going to fail. Just one person, let alone a whole social narrative.
Yeah.
I think we should be focusing on more empowering the individual instead of focusing on the group itself.
100%. That's good, but you need...
That's good? Everything else bad?
Well, empowering people is a key thing, but you need empowerers. You know what I mean? You need people that will actually go do the work and empower the young people or the whoever it is. It's quite interesting to see how people...
Well, you need an example of success.
By the way, there's so many creative young Pacific people, Māori people. They're creatives. But I don't know if the system's allowing them to think outside the box.
Yeah, I don't like. There was research done by I think the Ministry of Justice to determine why there was such a there's the supposed ways. I should say supposed. There is a disparity between the income that men receive and the income that women receive.
Yeah.
And it's even more pronounced between Māori and white.
Yeah.
And when they unpacked it, the two main contributing variables, and obviously, there's people that are racist, there's people that are limiting opportunities, but the two biggest contributing variables were the level of education and occupational choice.
Wow.
So if you unpack that from a psychological standpoint, how is the education system failing them, or how is the perception of education failing them?
Yeah.
So within their own person. And then the other thing is, why did they choose certain occupations? Are they happy? Are they fulfilled? Or do they not think it's possible for them to get certain roles? This is a fucked up yarn talking about some group. But the reality is, I would rather put myself at the risk of being cut down for the opportunity to give people an escape. So essentially my plan is to shut the fuck up and trying to empower examples of success.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
And then they talk. Not some white guy.
Yeah, I think everybody has a microphone now, because if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on any social media platform, you can say whatever you want and get away with it, and create a following or create a cult-like fan base. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think the future of all marketing is going to be obviously personal branding. People buy from people. So the brands essentially that are paying every day the dues will reap the rewards in the future.
Well, name one successful company that doesn't have a personal brand, whether it's a mascot or a person.
I'll tell you though. I mean, you're right, but let me just add to that. There's some companies I work for. They don't believe in personal marketing. Because they have a B2B model, right? Essentially, then that gets a bit difficult. Because, you have people leaving companies left, right, and center, and, we shouldn't put people up in the front. So, but at the end of the day, if you don't get your staff out there promoting, your business, you won't get longevity. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm in two camps around that.
Okay, tell me about it.
Because one hand, you have all the leverage if you're the personal brand.
Yeah.
So if you're like Gary Vee, what is his staff doing? Okay, there's D-Rock.
Yeah.
But he's obsessively pumping out content on him, and if you look at all his like Vayner friends or like Vayner Media, or V friends should I say, all their content bombs.
Right.
Because he's singularly focused on building his brand, and his brand has a potential influence.
Yeah.
He was able to reach more people, and he didn't have to deal with people leaving.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think you should limit a staff member. I think a staff member should be empowering their own life and their own vision, and you should support that. And that creates a great ecosystem.
Yeah, I agree.
Instead of them promoting your business, they're promoting what they want from life.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think what I meant was like, if you're working for a brand, you need to be able to explore that brand and try to I was limited, I was not allowed to use that brand publicly, maybe because I'm a different skin color, but anyways. Sorry, mate. But anyways,
you don't have to be sorry.
No, it is what it is. But
unpack it.
No, I don't know if you want to go there, man.
I'll go anywhere.
I think. Let me talk about leadership on this side.
Okay.
This is going to get messy, but I think senior leadership teams need to reassess. In every company, need to reassess who's sitting on the top. If you have a bunch of white men, and you have a bunch of different ethnicities in the middle, it's not good.
Interesting.
And it's not going to work long term.
So, what do you think leads to that disparity? And should we have it enforced? You go, there's 5% Indians, so you put them in.
You can't enforce it. I think leaders have to get outside their box, right?
Yeah.
If I'm Indian, I just can't meet with other Indians. I need to meet with the wider demographic. And I need to see people's potential. You can't, a lot of great companies obviously are run by great teams, but all these people are good friends, essentially, as well. And, if they're one ethnicity, they tend to stick with that one ethnicity. But if you want to change a company for the better, you got to see people of influence and really bring them up that ladder, because you can shift things really fast when you get a group of influencers get on with one mind, one DNA, one value system, and one vision, and move the boat or move the bus. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I used to hire salespeople that were deliberately different from me.
That's good.
But I didn't limit it to race. I didn't limit it to diversity of thought and characteristics, but unified values.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, I only appeal to a small market.
Right. Absolutely.
And the more people I have that appeal to that market and they're driven by themselves, the more ability they have to sell.
Absolutely.
And we're not competing. But I think it's dangerous. I acknowledge that, if you're in a leadership position and you're it's not reflective of society and you've reached a certain scale, you got to be like, what has led to all these people being the same?
I know. But you think about also how many seat holders you have right now.
You
think about how many people have been in that one leadership role for 25 years.
So you're jaded about some corporate. Tell us about it.
Oh, no, I'm not. You think about most corporates, though.
100%.
Most corporates are like that. You got a bunch of 3 people on the top, been there for 50 years, have no hair on their head now, and they're running the company, calling the shots. They're not really running the company. They're all the way in freaking white. I can't even think.
White land.
Coromandel. Okay, the Coromandel.
Why did you say
Fitianga. I was
white?
thinking Fitianga.
Why did you say white?
Oh no, Fitianga. That's what I was thinking. Fitianga is a really great place to go on holiday. So they sit in their computers and they make decisions all the way from offshore.
Well, I agree. I think every single person in the organization is a leader. Not everyone should be on stage.
Yeah.
Now, everyone is a leader in the sense that as soon as, let's say, I'm a big follower of Jocko Willink, which is an ex-Navy SEAL. If you want to learn leadership, he's good. He believes in decentralization.
Yeah, okay.
He believes in giving... Yeah, so you say the mission, you give them the responsibility of finding the solution, and then let them decide.
Yep.
And the challenge is, let's say you told them, you're essentially speculating what the future is going to be.
Yep.
I think these certain things are going to happen on the battlefield, and then when things don't happen how they plan, because that person's doing it for you and they're not motivated for them or came up with the idea, they're fucked, and they're waiting for the next command.
Yeah.
So I believe in empowering each individual within the organization as a leader.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't always be on stage.
Yep.
Because people's EQ aren't,
Yeah, I think you've also to be on stage, you've got to be an articulate person as well.
Interesting.
And you got to be.
What about Bill Gates?
Oh, I don't know.
What about Mark Zuckerberg?
Oh, I don't know about these people.
Robot list
Well,
man.
they're all visionaries, but there's no one like Steve Jobs.
But yeah,
he was a speaker. He could captivate.
He also wasn't necessarily
a good leader.
Maybe not. That's the thing.
I heard a lot of things.
He wasn't a well-liked leader.
Yeah, but he got the job done.
That's the thing.
Well, you don't have to be. Yeah, there are a lot of people like that out there as well. They get the job done. They grow, but they're, remember, seasonal. Also, there are some CEOs or some leaders that are meant to come into businesses, grow for a season, and then move on. Some CEOs can't stay there for 20, 30 years and grow the company. Do you know what I mean? Especially younger ones. I don't see young CEOs staying in companies for too long.
So, what do you do about that then? How do you create either what is your attributes of a great leader, or how do you create a system that supports great leaders?
A great leader, someone that has influence, natural ability to captivate, and has a natural charisma, has a really strong sense of people, where are my people, has a really strong identity, so doesn't feel insecure from other people's talents and gift sets. I think a really good leader has integrity, so does what he says. Time management, so very, very focused on, hey, what are the outcomes, the results. A good leader is a vision caster.
Look at you rattling out these words. Fuck, it's a long list. Yeah, keep going.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they know how to cast vision. Like, look at the Wolf of Wall Street.
You think he's a leader?
Jordan Belfort. But in the movie, he did really well.
Crawl into the car.
You get the idea, right? The whole team meeting. Whole team meeting, rallying people and, getting people on board. And so there were some certain scenes I really like. Everybody was like, yeah, we're going to smash it.
What was the vision?
I can't remember what
That's
he
what
said.
I'm saying, bro.
But the gist of what I felt in that movie from what he was doing is what I remembered, right? Not the content. People don't care how much you know. Have you heard that saying?
Yeah, until they know how much you care.
See, you finished it for me, man. Thank you.
I'm with you.
So I
United, brother.
I think, and I think the
Common
greatest
vision.
leaders. This is the final thought. I could keep on going. Great leaders are humble. And humility is something that, I don't know. Do you see it everywhere these days? I don't know.
Well, I don't have it. I try to.
At least you're honest about it,
Yeah, no, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Because I have a deep-rooted insecurities and need to feel validated.
Really?
So I'll take credit for other people's successes.
Really?
Which isn't good. So I do that less.
Okay. Hey, how did you develop self-awareness around that?
Self-awareness to me is input and output. So output is watching how people interact with your certain ideals and using that as feedback. Yeah. And also data. Yeah. Recording data that's independent from your thoughts, because essentially you're in a fight with an identical twin. Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. Yeah. And then input is just being aware of the emotional triggers and mindfulness and meditation.
The greatest wake-up call for me in my life was, I think, a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I was in a in a role, I was working, I was doing some things, and I was like always interjecting what I thought. I was like, and I was over speaking, and I was always like doing my thing and getting the job done, but like I wasn't aware of the surroundings. So one of my coaches, he came to me, took me in a room. He's like, Josh, listen, this was a wake up call for me. He said, Josh, you are not listening. Those 3 words changed my life. I don't know if it was 4 words or 3 words. You are not listening.
You weren't listening.
You get the point, man. Okay?
Yeah.
He said, you're not listening. And he said it with that tone. He said, you're not listening. And I was like, what do you mean? I am. I'm listening. You're not. And I was like, okay. I took myself out of myself and I looked at myself from the other perspective. I said, yeah, I don't think I'm actually listening. So from that day, I became very aware that I need to, I actually became self-aware that day. Because sometimes we're so consumed by what we do. Like we think we're right. We think we're, our perspective's the best perspective, but we don't actually consider and listen and see things from other people's perspective. And that changed my life, eh?
Well, the 2 things is one book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, probably heard of.
Yeah, by Dale.
Yeah, that if I knew names, I'd remember.
Yeah.
But that sounds like it. Dale Dagany or something.
Yeah. Kadajany or something.
You and your words, eh? The best way to be interesting is to be interested.
Yep.
And then the other thing, to win most, so I've talked to about 100,000 people over 13 years professionally.
Really?
Yeah.
You only look 22, bro.
Yeah. Good on you.
How old are you?
Got grey hair,
Sorry,
man. Let's
man.
not lie to the
Come
people.
on, man. How
31.
old are you? You 31.
Yeah. So I started sales and stopping 40 people a day and getting rejected by 100.
What was that role?
I was part of a company called Avco. We just sold whatever they gave us.
Door knocking.
Yeah, door knocking, events, and then I did cold calling.
Do you think that grew, you developed a lot of grit in that role?
Yeah, I mean, the rejection didn't matter. But the most important thing was the impact my body language has on how other people feel.
Yeah.
And then understanding a framework of how to communicate and to build trust and connect with anyone. Because essentially they gave you a clipboard and a shirt, and then I raised $2 to $3 million in a year, and you just fucking, you spin a yarn with randoms.
You did that?
Yeah.
$2 to $3 million you've raised.
I think, about give or take.
Wow.
But what I learned from that experience was one of the things around, if you want to win an argument, it's not about making them feel wrong, because
absolutely, that's good.
With an objection handle, this is what they teach you in sales. Agree with them. Relate. Oh, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Some guy down the road felt what you felt.
Yeah.
Oh, this is why you're wrong.
Yeah.
This is a reason why you should do something about being wrong now, and then close. That's the framework. But what you should actually do, if you want to win most arguments, is to understand why you're wrong.
Yeah.
Understand why they think they're right. I don't think there's hills you should die on.
Wow. How do you do that?
Well, essentially, you just understand, you listen. So you unpack them.
Yeah.
You also be aware of your emotions. You tend to project when you're feeling emotions. So if I feel an emotion or a strong conviction or an absolute about a certain thing, it's a story that you're reminding me of when I had as a kid.
Yeah.
So understanding those triggers. Yeah. But then essentially wanting to be wrong. Yeah. Or asking yourself, how could this person be right? Yeah. And as you keep asking questions, they disarm themselves.
A lot of what you've just highlighted is also Chris Voss is a speaker in negotiation, the art of negotiation.
Yeah, yep.
Or I don't know, he has a really good book.
I used one of his things.
Something around the line or something like that. He is a master negotiator. I think I try to do once a year a 1 week course on negotiation, upskilling course.
Oh yeah.
Because I think all sales is just negotiation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't read it, but I took 2 things I implemented from it. Yeah. Well, one main thing.
Never split the difference.
Never split the difference. That's
that
the book.
is the book.
Yeah, it is the book.
Never split the difference.
If you're calling someone, they teach you in selling to get people to say yes.
Yeah.
And that book tells you to get them to say no.
No, exactly.
So I call nearly everyone I call, I have some sort of thing at the start.
What do you say? Come on. Give it to me. Come on.
Hey, Josh. Ryan Melton here. I just saw your video with Avi. Is now a bad time?
No.
There you go. And then the no disarms you. And then you've also told me now it's not a bad time.
Yeah.
And if it is a bad time, well, I don't want to fucking talk to you while you're not listening.
Yeah. Okay,
So
good.
the first part is to differentiate yourself from a telemarketer. I'm sort of leveraging off the idea that I might be a client.
Yeah. Okay.
And your ego.
Okay.
So I use something from the website, whether it's tennis. Hey, Barry, how's the tennis going? It's Ryan Melton. In his head, he's like, shit, I should know this person. Who is this person? And then he's told me, while he's got that pattern interruption, that he's free.
Right.
So you can't use that as an excuse.
Wow, man. Cold calling is like one of the... If you know how to cold call, man, you can do a lot of business, man.
Yeah.
At Vodafone, I know a guy when I was working there. This is 2 British guys, man. They were smashing it. They were bringing at least $10,000 a week, $15,000 a week. His paycheck was about $3,000 to $4,000 per week. Just cold calling.
Yeah.
That was when Vodafone was really trying to get the market, man.
Bro, nearly anyone off the street can do it.
Yeah, it's just they need to be taught.
Yeah. And just not be a little wuss.
Yeah, but you tell me, rejection is not a easy thing to brush off if you haven't developed it from a young age.
Yeah, funnily, no, I won't go into that. I was going to talk about differences.
Sales makes you thick-skinned, though. You know, being in any business development role or being in any role that where you are constantly hearing no, it mentally gets tiring.
Yeah, it's not good. I used to be part of a dating cult where they teach you to be better with women.
Wow, are you married yet?
Nah, so I didn't get better.
Oh,
No, that's what actually it was cause more harm than good. So if you have a certain success with women, you become more emotionally distant. And your ability to foster meaningful connections and intimacy gets harder.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big problem for the youth is that they feel like having choice is a wonderful thing, but it's actually at the expense of their happiness.
absolutely.
They did the study with paintings.
Okay.
Well, so there was one group, they could only pick one painting, couldn't change their mind.
Yeah.
The other group could change their mind in 3 months.
Wow.
Which one was happier?
Second one?
Now, the one that couldn't change their mind.
Oh.
So I'm not saying arranged marriages are that great.
Oh, I think they're good.
Do you?
Yeah,
Go on.
Okay, let's
Go
talk
on.
about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Hook me up.
I got a semi-arranged.
Semi-arranged.
Yeah, I reckon it was semi-arranged.
Okay.
I like to say it was
'Cause
God.
you liked
it
you,
was
there's
God
no-
arranged because
Oh, yeah.
she was part of my church community, then she left, and I think I was just being like developed as a person, you know, and then she came back, but I asked my dad and I said, what do you think? And that's not a normal thing to do in our generation, right? Like we normally think, oh yeah, I'm right, I'm going to make the decision. I really took a decision from all my different family members and I wanted to hear their perspective. And I know as soon as they agreed, I was like, okay, sweet, I'm fully in. I took that approach. And I think it was the best way to approach the decision for me.
First girlfriend?
Huh?
Had you had girlfriends before?
Yeah, I had flings and things and
Were you?
Yeah.
In front of the eyes of the Lord.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm human, just like you, mate.
Yeah. I'm going to hell, bro. I'm cooked. I'm not even going to repent it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
He's recording that on video.
Yeah.
I have to pray for you after this, man. Don't worry.
Yeah, thank you.
Don't worry, man.
I think I'm still fucked.
I'll get you up.
Because you have to say sorry and then you have to not do it again, ideally.
Nah, you can't.
Or you can just keep saying sorry.
Humans can't change themselves. That's why I believe you need God to help you. It's very hard.
What's your favorite quote from the Bible that's applicable in a personal development standpoint?
Wow.
And just not quote word for word, but just like anecdotal, sort of like a thing.
Yeah,
Because that's
death
hard.
and power, death and life, or life and death is in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18 verse 21. And I love that because words literally create your life.
Yeah.
Everything you speak is literally atoms coming together. You can literally create your life, your pathway for your life, the next step. You can create your future simply by speaking it out.
And I know it's not really a good topic to talk about, but Well, it hasn't stopped us yet. No, we won't get too much into your faith, but I don't have the opportunity to have someone that really understands it pretty good.
Yeah, well, talk about it.
Yeah, so I wanna understand the symbolism and why it resonates so much with the human psyche. So I think the dance between good and evil is quite interesting, and the theme of resurrection throughout different religious texts.
Yeah.
So Jesus, in essence, he had to go through the darkness to be resurrected and connect. You know, essentially, he was vilified and hated and then got crucified for those.
Yeah.
And then from there was when he had his, resurrection.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, is the answer to life is to look into the abyss long enough to see the light? So in essence, looking at the darkest parts of who you are and accepting and integrating that so you can be resurrected and connected to that godlike component of what makes you who you are.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it. Yeah. I don't know if I should add to that. I think we have to accept the fact that we're not right. We have things in us that, that need to change, but that's where you invite God's light to come in and change you, That's the way I look at it. And I've seen a lot of people I'm telling you, just because, and this is the difference, your journey with everybody's journey with God is different, right? And I believe that the more you seek the truth, you'll find the truth, And to me, truth is not a concept or an idea. Truth has to be a person. Because when you look at the scriptures and you look at Jesus' writing, he says, I am the way. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He makes a big statement. And when you look at the reason why I love Jesus so much is because I look at the way he integrated and engaged with people's humanity. He did not dismiss people or disgrace people. He accepted them for who they are, and they followed him, and they change in that process, and that's life.
So using my hypothesis, what from a psychological standpoint, so I mean, you might have to say sorry and pray after this, I'm not sure. but if say it had a psychological appeal in the same way that the hero's journey does. Have you heard of the hero's journey?
No, I don't know who that is.
Hero's journey is nearly every successful film, movie, or book follows the same structure.
Okay.
So Google hero's journey. The guy analyzed it, and he found certain structures. Oh,
crap!
I don't think anyone's going to get electrocuted here. Just so you know, guys, we're still rolling a podcast with the pool of water.
Man, this is the most unique thing I've done in ever. If I hurt any of your equipment right now.
Yeah, buy me all this new stuff. I need some new stuff. No, don't worry. You said you weren't starving. I think we're okay.
No, you're all good. You're all good. You're all good. This is the best interview, man, ever.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. And we've got 21 minutes. So, anyway, Hero's
journey.
Yeah, the hero's journey, look it up. But what do you think the psychological significance of the Bible is that makes it appeal to humans so much? Like, is there a theme within it or principles that just appear applicable through the sands of time,
Yeah, I think you look at the text as it's firstly a very rich text. It's a text that's lasted generations and histories, and it's so rich in the sense it's a living book, the way I look at it, right? It's a book of life. There's so much life to be drawn out of it, but you can't. The problem is when you approach the Bible from a very intellectual perspective or an academic perspective, you don't engage it with your heart. You engage it with your mind. You got to put your first heart and say, God, if I'm like, this is why people love the Bible, right? Christians love the Bible because it is the scriptures. It is if you look at 2 Timothy 3 verse 16, it says all scripture is breathed by God or inspired by God. So I as a believer, the Bible is inspired by God. So it is God's word. It's God's final authority. That's what I believe, right? So that's been something that's been that idea has been passed over time, generation, family to family. And it's the book that has lasted everything, man.
Yeah.
It's still here.
Yeah. The thing I like the most about it, I'm just checking nothing's fucked. It seems right. Sorry to swear.
Sorry, man.
After your spiel. The thing I like the most about it, and some people use it as a way to discredit it, is that how many times it's been adjusted over the years.
Yep.
And as you say, it could be still from the Word of God and iterations. We don't have to unpack that.
Yep.
But just the fact that it has been edited, improved, and adjusted over thousands of years and still makes sense tells me that there's some truth and validity to the way you should live your life.
Correct. And I think there's so many... It's all integrated. All the pieces of text are all integrated in different ways, right? We could go into that on another day, but I just think there's so much richness in the word, man, to learn. Like, if you read the Proverbs every single day, Ryan, I reckon you would be smarter than most people out there.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just try it. Read it for 30 days and apply one thing from the Proverbs.
I don't read, so can I listen to it?
You could listen to it.
There's Proverbs.
Just read it.
What's a good, inspire me? A little nugget from Proverbs. Is that Old Testament?
Yeah, it is Old Testament. Yep.
That one, Old Testament out the gate. Love it.
But it's
interesting.
It's part of the wisdom category. So there's categories. There's history books. There's wisdom books. There's the New Testament. There's prophetic books.
Prophetic.
Yeah, like books of prophets.
Prophetic. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What's a nugget from Proverbs?
Man, there's so many.
And you have to quote it like a principle because it's hard. I can't even. I talked to someone yesterday, forgot their name.
I like Proverbs 3. It says 3 verse 7, I think it is. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Acknowledge him in all your ways and he will direct your path."
That's powerful, because
that's deep, bro. That's deep on every level. But
one of my favorite things about religion is that it helps the unhelpable.
But tell me one thing. Why do you think it's a religion? This is going to get real. Tell me why you think it's a religion.
Why I don't think it's real? Is that what you mean?
No, I think... See, to me, there's two things I've discovered about Christianity. There are people that call it religious Christianity and religiously live it out. So outwardly they are one thing and inwardly they are totally different. So there's a discrepancy. And number two, there's a relationship with God, which is totally different.
Okay.
A relationship with God doesn't look like I'm in a box.
Yeah.
I have to do certain box tick thing, checklists to be right with God. It's nothing like that. It's very different. So there's a difference between Christian religion, which is what the bedrock of Western society has been built on, and then there's actual relationship with God.
Well, in terms of that, I'd prefer to have a relationship with God because it's more practical from a healthy standpoint.
100%.
So
that's a great way.
Just need to believe he's real.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I think everybody will come to a time where they encounter the reality.
Or I'll be dead and I'll be burning in hell. And all your prayers will give me a slightly stage up. I'll get to purgatory. Will it? What?
I don't know. I don't believe in purgatory and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, don't you?
Man. I don't.
So I'm going to hell, heaven, all good.
Well, if you believe in Jesus, you will. 100%.
And you might become a father, eh?
Oh, no.
So then, that's legit.
Oh, man.
That's like a get out jail
I don't
free
know
card.
too much about... I think you probably bring more Catholic concepts, if anything, but I don't know.
What are you,
too
Christian?
Much. I'm you would say, like a Bible-believing Christian, I suppose, I don't have too much...
As opposed to I'm Bible-believing Christian. What the fuck is the Bible-believing part, bro?
No,
Sorry,
I don't know. No,
text.
it's okay. I don't know about the purgatories, and I'm not Catholic, right? So I don't know about this. There's different denominations in the faith, and essentially what denominations is they have a different interpretation or view or lens on how they see the text, right? I don't try to bring complications to the text. I just read what I need to read and say, God, change my heart. I'm walking with you. I want to be a better person every day. I want to be a better husband every day. Be a better friend every day.
Yeah.
Take away the selfishness in me. Let your spirit guide me. It's as simple as that, man.
Now, from a happiness standpoint, an achievement standpoint, and then also to be able to help the unhelpable in the sense that society have given up on, have a reason to be more than what they are.
And I'll tell you why people need faith. It's because faith actually gives you a bedrock or a foundation of hope. Hopeless people don't live long. I believe in God because I know that I don't have the capacity, so I need someone bigger than me. You know what I mean? Greater than me to actually help me through this journey of life.
Yeah.
So that's why I depend on him. That's why I trust him. I have a relationship with him. I talk to him. You know what I mean? I meditate.
I'm more independent and strong.
Yeah, but
no,
there are people like that. It's okay. Yeah. The truth is, you got to choose which way you want to live your life. Right at the end of the day, you get benefits for both.
I explored all of them. I even hung out with Hare Krishna.
Really?
When Buddhist monks, as soon as Buddhist monks told me, hey, you got to repress anger and, control your mind, I was like, oh, and you can't, you got to control your desire. I was like, fucking no, I don't.
Yeah.
Because I did a silent retreat.
You did a silent retreat.
Yeah, 10 days, meditation, 4 a.m. to 9 p.m., 3 breaks. 10 days and you can't talk.
How was that?
No, it sucked. I think... Because they told me how to manage
honesty, man.
Yeah, well, I got bitten by a possum.
Oh, okay.
I was going to be vegetarian, but...
Actually?
Yeah, I was like... I found a sense of peace. And I was standing there at like 9:20, and it was dark, and this possum just walked towards me. And I was like, wow. And it just came like right by me. Yeah. Real slow, real chilled. Yeah. I was like, maybe I can be a vegetarian. And then it turned around and bit me. So I was like,
wow.
Fuck him. Wow. Nah, but the main thing I got away from that is, one, how unhealthy my mind is. Because I was continually using a video game in my mind of mental masturbation of sort.
Yeah.
To keep me distracted from the pain. Because partly you have to sit for hours at a time and not move and observe the pain as a sensation without interpretation. They call it equanimity of the mind.
Okay. That's crazy.
But what it did teach me is most of life is a sensation, and whether you suffer or not is determined by how you interpret that sensation as opposed to the sensation itself.
Okay.
So if I feel pain, if I feel sadness, if I feel emotion, if I feel tightness in my chest, it is just the tightness. It is just the pain behind my eyes.
Oh, they try to separate the two. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and they find you can scientifically back that. I was talking about my friend not long ago. He did, he would hurt students in a minor way.
Yeah.
And then also tell them that they're doing awful in an exam, even though they're doing good. So he'd test them, hurt them, and the pain hurt more depended on how well they thought they did on the exam. And they also found it with chronic pain. Your interpretation of the pain, let's say of a car crash.
Wow.
Your interpretation of that moment and how you reinforce that interpretation over time will contribute to the severity of your pain.
Wow.
So I think it's an important thing in life to acknowledge a sensation as it is.
Yeah.
To observe your thoughts as an object, like a leaf passing through the river, as opposed to you being in the river.
Shucks, man.
And it'll help you navigate.
It's too complicated. You lost me after a while, bro.
Well, prayer, same thing. It's meditation. Just prayer more.
Yeah. Prayer is conversation. It's relationship, right? It's like me and you talking. And to me, man, God sometimes, he sounds just like me in my head, and it'll be unique, like things I haven't thought before. So when I'm praying, I'm thinking and I'm talking, and I'm like talking, God, what are you doing? Why did this, I feel like this, can you please help me? And I'll hear thoughts. But it'll be in my own voice. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I can't explain it. But
I get it. I was tempted to make fun of you, but then...
Yeah. I'm not a weird cat, man.
Nah, you crossed your arms. I don't want to make you feel bad. But yeah, I just first thought, someone's sitting there talking to themselves. But then obviously...
But you're alone. You're not talking in front of me. But it's like...
Oh, yeah, because you don't say it out loud. It's not weird? No. Good. Tell the schizos. Schizophrenic people with a mental illness. I think this is in trouble. But yeah, we're at the time limit now.
Yeah, we are at the time limit. This is quite interesting, man.
Yeah.
I have never had a spiritual conversation
with
anybody online like this.
Well, it's good.
On the podcast. It's good. It's different.
And as I say, I don't know. And
I think people do need spiritual guidance more than anything right now.
I think it helps people. Some guy came up to me on the street to give me a pamphlet about Jesus. And I was like, yo. He's like, do you need this? I was like, nah, man, I'm good. And he's like, but what about the world? Isn't it awful? Like, don't you want salvation? I was like, what do you mean the world's awful? Yeah. Like, it's amazing. Yeah. Like, we're living on more than $1 a day. Like, we're not suffering. Like, we don't die at 40.
Correct. And
then he says, yeah, but like, don't haven't you done bad things and aren't you worried about the consequence of going to hell? And I was like, I'm a man that takes responsibility for my life, and if there's consequences for that responsibility, I'll live with it.
Yeah.
But I genuinely have a lot of respect for whatever religion, provided that it brings a person an opportunity to salvation and to live a more meaningful life.
Yeah.
And I think life is probably better for those people and for society with God in it.
Yeah.
So I'm chill. You do your thing.
Yeah, it is what it is. Everybody's on a journey.
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it.
True.
Well, and I reckon if people are open, people are hungry, and people are wanting to know more, those are the moments that you should be really paying attention to what God is doing.
Yeah, and to use my voice like a trumpet.
Yeah.
Isn't that a thing? Use your voice like...
What?
Yeah, it's a quote from the Bible. Not like that.
Use my voice like... Wait, who said that?
Well, essentially, you got to tell people about the faith. Use your voice like a trumpet.
You share your faith, you share your story, how...
There's something to do with trumpets, though.
I think that's...
You need to read the book again.
No,
I did it at Sunday school. I remember. There was a guy that was called Bald, and he prayed to God, and they slaughtered them with bears. Do you know that, in the Old Testament? So,
which Bible is that? Anyways, okay.
Yeah, it's Old Testament. Yeah. That's why I love the Old Testament.
Yeah, it's full of stories, man.
It's out the gate. Sorry, I don't want to be disrespectful, but this story is amazing. So this bald guy walking along, minding his own business, 14 kids or so.
Oh, yeah. Elisha, the prophet, yeah.
Yeah, and like, yo, Elijah, you baldy.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, that's not cool. Yo, God. Yeah. And then the bear comes down and kills them all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's lessons in this,
What's the lesson?
I have to read it again, man. It's a crack up story though, eh?
Bro,
I sometimes think about why would he do that?
It's an incredible story.
Yeah.
My biggest challenge is, would I be friends with God knowing what he was like in the Old Testament? That's my hardest thing. I think you
would have a reverential fear. I don't know if there was a friendship element with God back then. Because remember, Abraham, who was one of the first, fathers of he was the first father of faith. He was a friend of God. That's what they say.
Yeah.
This is even in the book of Romans. But I think the Old Testament is written in the context of that time, from that perspective, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They don't see the elements of friendship in God. But there are a lot of aspects of the text where you can see God's heart and God's love for people.
That's a good point, eh? They wrote the text in a way that would appeal to the market at the time.
Yeah, I think... the stories were more relatable to those people. Yeah. They knew what they were talking about.
That's an interesting point. Because then it's not so much that God is someone that you should fear. It's more the fact that God needed to be feared during that time.
If you use fear in the context of being afraid, then we should not be afraid of God. But we need to have a healthy respect for God. Because if I become too close to you and I become too familiar with you, I don't experience what you have for me because it's just Ryan. Who cares? You know what I mean?
Like spill water and not give a fuck.
Yeah, I know. I'm just looking at it right now. It's mentally like challenging me right now. I'm like,
it's chill. If it fucked it.
No, it hasn't done anything, man. Don't worry.
You don't know. It seems to be working.
Trust me, man. I think you're a bit pedantic now, eh?
Oh, yeah. Take it out of me.
Yeah.
That's why I need more fear around you. But on that note, we've gone past our time limit.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it, eh?
I would just closing remark. How do they find you and why should they find you?
Oh, on Instagram, social media, LinkedIn, pretty much any platform. joshuasingh.com would be a place. But what's the next question? Sorry.
Why should they find you?
Well, if you want to connect, but the reason, if you want to connect, if you don't know your gift set, you're feeling like you lack clarity in your life, you feel like you need some help, just finding vision and direction, then I'd be the best person to work with because I want to help you find a pathway. And it's literally a series of questions and sitting with you a couple of times and, essentially is putting a plan together.
Cool.
And then helping you execute.
Nice. Well, welcome.
Thank you, man.
Someone was talking to me through the window when you did your spiel.
Yeah, so Ryan, if you need help, just let me know, man. Anytime.
Me?
Yeah. Anytime,
God,
man.
You need money to pay someone. Thanks for coming.